Afternoon, we will continue with our session about IEA-EBC annexes, and the annex now on the table is Annex 87 on energy and indoor environmental quality performance of personalized environmental control system. And one of the operating agents is Bjarne Olesen from DTU in Copenhagen. He will give the overview. And then it will be followed by an in-depth presentation. Okay, there we go again. Sorry to pronounce, maybe bad. Shinichi Tanibi from Waseda University in Japan. The floor is yours, Bjarne.
Thank you, and good afternoon. So on behalf of the Annex, I will give a short introduction on what the Annex is all about. And there will be a meeting of the Annex as a face-to-face meeting. There will also be partly a hybrid tomorrow and Saturday. It's there. Oh, it's not there. Okay. So now it's showing the same. So, I was starting saying tomorrow and part of Saturday, there will be an Annex meeting here in Tokyo at the Tokyo University and Komaba branch. And that will be led by my co-operating agent, Ongun. So the Annex is about personalized systems. So shortly, what do we understand as a personal environmental control system? We are talking about a system with functions of heating, cooling, ventilation, lighting, and acoustic that is trying to control a localized environment on the workplace of the person. So there will be a zone around the person controlled by this system and controlled by the person. It's not new. There has been many years of research. There are products on the market also. Not products that necessarily can deal with all four parameters: heating, cooling, ventilation, and lighting, but maybe two of them and some even all of them. Experience have shown in some field studies, but also in many laboratory studies, that it improves personal comfort, health, and energy efficiency for the entire heating, ventilation, air conditioning system. Because the idea is, if you can control the environment around the person, you can relax on the criteria for the general environment. But often you have a general system combined with personalized system. And now during a pandemic and in general regarding cross-contaminations, there is some benefits if everybody had a personalized ventilation, so they were not breathing somebody else's air. So these are some of the reasons that there is an interest for these systems. As I said, we have had many years of research on air distribution spaces, from mixed ventilation, which are the most common, displacement ventilation, where you try to press out the used air. Often here you can get a somewhat higher ventilation effectiveness. And then to the personalized system, where, for example, fresh air is coming in directly in the breathing zone. We have also had systems where you basically have like a headset and the air is coming in just where you speak in the microphone. So there are different systems that has been studied. Typically, you may have some local heating, often at the below part of the body, because that's normally where it's coldest. You may have outside air coming to the workplace and then through air distribution here. And the important is, of course, that this is constructed so you don't have very much entrainment of room air. Normally, you often construct them so you have a lot of entrainment of room air, but here you want the fresh air to go directly to the breathing zone. So there have been many studies on what are the best position. Also, the chair can be used. These are chairs which are on the market, both for heating and cooling and some ventilation. It can be in units around the workplace, and everybody will then have their own comfort. So we see it as, of course, for workplaces where you have mainly sedentary activity, like banks and others where people sitting for a longer time. I also see a market in residential. We have seen after the pandemic, more people are working from home. There's a big discussion. Who should take care of your working environment at home? Should it be your company or should it be yourself? But could the company deliver a personalized system that may take care of it? So I think there could be an interest, market interest there also. So why PECS? I mentioned some of the benefits compared to whole space conditioning, and there are data showing the higher dissatisfaction because you have more influence yourself on the direct environment around you, maybe without disturbing other people. So you can have not only 80% satisfied, but you make it up to 100% satisfied. Potential energy savings, that is something we need to study further because this system also use energy. So it's not necessarily you will save energy. You for sure will increase the comfort of people, but question is, can you also save energy? As I said, it's not entirely new. We have 20 years or more of research, but there's really no design guide or manual for such system and how to integrate them in a building HVAC system. So it's not a common solution at buildings. It has been used some places, but it hasn't really penetrated the market as you might think because of the benefits. One limiting factor may be economy, because often it may be more expensive to have more systems. Now, it's an annex which we are now in the preparation phase, where we had 2 meetings last year. The annex totally is about 5 years until 2027, and the last year, 26, is reporting phase. So we are just starting now the working phase, and the first meeting is taking place, as I said, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. The next meeting will be in September, combined with a conference also in Lausanne, Switzerland. The objective is that we want to establish design criteria and operation guidelines of the system. And we want to quantify the benefits regarding health, comfort, and energy performance. And then establish control concept and guidelines for how to operate PECS in spaces where you have a general heating, cooling, and ventilation and lighting system. How much can you relax on the requirements of those systems if you have a personalized system? All types of PECS is included for heating, cooling, ventilation, air cleaning, lighting, and acoustic, and all combination of these. It's both desktop systems, which are mounted on a desk or integrated in the furniture, chairs with heating, cooling, and ventilation facilities, wearables where people themselves, they wear heating or cooling devices, and even maybe ventilation devices. You can have, often instead of outside air, you may have local air cleaning devices that improve the air quality. We do not include cars. There's a lot of studies on some of the same issues in cars. where you really have a personal environment, and they're very far in how to optimize this environment. So we will learn from what they have studies and what they have studied regarding cars, but we are not really included that in the annex. There's already a lot going on. Target audience, that is manufacturers who need design guidelines, building owners and consultants who know what are the performance, what are the energy implications, what are the important for the user, what are the positive thing that you can contribute to a good indoor environment. But also standardization bodies. As I said, the most standards are dealing with the whole room conditioning. But now when we want to look at condition of individual workplaces, we need to know more about individual differences. What range do we really have to cover with the system? Until now, we have had a couple of seminars. Last year, we had a seminar, we had a topical session at the AIVC conference last year, and we will also have that in October, the next AIVC conference. And we had, end of the last year, we had a AIVC webinar, especially directly to the industry. So I think we had about 200, a little more participants. We are have about subtasks with subtask leaders that has been identified. One is looking at the fundamentals. I won't go in detail on all of this, but they're looking at what are the, to identify the requirements of PECS, localized and background indoor environmental quality, all four of them. We have application and technology, so they're looking at what are the existing working principles, what are the capabilities and limitation of existing PECS based on what we have in literature, and then identify what future developments could there be to optimize both energy and IAQ and cost performance. In the beginning, we are not looking so much at cost, but at the end, that could be an important factor. Then the control, operation, and system integration is an important part. We talked about there's personal control, but basically a person doesn't want to have to control all the time. So we also think about how can you make the individualize the control by artificial intelligence? How can you learn which person is sitting at the desk so you can control according to the preferences of this person? But always the person can go in and change what he or she would like. And then we need some guidelines on how you design the ambient system if you have a personalized system. We also need to look at the test method. How can you test a system? What do you need to do? For example, how can you test that the air distribution is more efficient than just mixed ventilation? So we need to show some test methods, and that's especially related to the air distribution effectiveness. So this is something which subtask D is dealing with. And then finally, subtask A is more policy and advisory actions. They should end up putting things together as input to existing national or international standards. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about standards, and we have some in the standards. ASHRAE 55 on thermal comfort also have now in their standard. So we are going to see what type of criteria can we include in standards. So that's basically what we are going to work with over the coming years. We want to end up with a guidebook on the requirements, a state-of-the-art report based on what we know today. Then also a guidebook on how to design and operate and implement in buildings where you also have an ambient system. We want to establish test methods that can be used to measure or give the performance of a system. And finally, also establish criteria that can be integrated in existing or future standards. We have a high level of participation. There are more 80, 90 people who have indicated and are participating in online or face-to-face meetings. And we have several countries from basically all over the world. So huge interest in this project. There is a link here where you can get more information. Thank you.